Hello world of Pokemon, this is Daniel, owner of the Player Completionist channel, also known as PComp, and today it's time for Generation 3 Complex Dex. This is usually the time I put down my intro, but I'm in the process of creating a new one, so no intro for today. So guys, we are here once again for another Complex Dex completed. At my left, here, you can see the basic rules for this challenge. Any questions can be made or answered in your dedicated video of the rules linked below, or in this video if you feel like it. About Pokemon Emerald specific rules, I want to reiterate that this is also a Hoenn form completion dex. So it captures both Pokemon that have gender differences and also the Oxys form. And talking about Safari, we had to breed all Pokemon caught there. So they changed from Safari Balls to regular balls. This dex was also a double challenge. We also had to complete a LeafGreen complex dex, getting extra Pokemon in both Emerald and LeafGreen to trade between them. Another information is about the video structure. First thing is that this challenge was completed in 4 different phases. The first one was the catching phase, where we went into the wilds and collected Pokemons in their different locations. The second phase was the extra catching phase, where we caught Pokemons in extra games because they are only available in those, or because we need extra Pokemon that are limited to Emerald. The third phase is the breeding phase. Using Pokemon from Safari or other games, we make eggs to have a full national dex with our base Emerald OT and ID number. The last step is the evolution phase, where we use different methods to evolve Pokemon in their respective necessary forms. The last thing I need to say is that when I show the Pokemon caught or evolved in this video, if I for some reason had to cut any extras of them, they will be shown right after. Like for example, here we have EV is Scout Pokemon for Evolve, BR is an extra Pokemon caught for breeding, FM is for gender or extra forms, and lastly LG is an extra Pokemon caught to be traded for LeafGreen. Well, that's it for the intro, sorry for the long one, but now enjoy your complex dex. In your inaugural 3rd generation livestream, we kick off our traditional ritual, but made an unexpected detour by defeating a rival, unfortunately leveling up our starter Pokemon. After grabbing Pokeballs and catching another Pokemon, we box Trickle and embark on our adventure. Later off-stream, we continue our standard gameplay, capturing the required cast form at the Weather Institute. Following the game's storyline completion, we initiated our customary catching phase, await without a dedicated catcher. We began in Lily Cove City fishing for Staryu. Fishing proved tougher than expected, but we snagged Gyarados in Sotopolis City. Proceeding to Route 101, we caught Pochiana, Zigzagoon, and Wumpo. Having acquired an outside Miracle as our catcher, we continued on Route 103, capturing Wingull. We also fished for Tentacool using the old rod, Waymar with the good rod, and Sharpedo with the super rod. Next, Route 104 with a Taillow, Mario, and Magikarp with the old rod. Our final destination was Route 110, where we obtained Electric, Minun, and Goping. Following a brief hiatus, we resume our journey on Route 102, swiftly capturing the rare routes and its extras. We also encounter Lotet. And utilizing the good rod, we wield Corfish. And with the old rod, Golding. Returning to Route 104, we secured an extra Talo for LeafGreen. Route 110 delivered Oddish, Plusley, and an additional Minun for LeafGreen. 4 extra Gulping were caught for gender and evolution purposes, the last one giving us a little of a headache. Concluding the day on Route 111, the desert route, we captured Trapinch, Sentru, Cacnea, and Baltoy. Livestream ended due to numerous Trapinch within a trap. Later upstream, we encountered our first 1% spawn, Seedot on Route 102. We returned to the desert route to capture an additional Baltoy for LeafGreen. Nearby, good route helped to catch Barboach. On Route 112, we continued with Numo. Ash covered Route 113 with Spinda, Slugma, and after an intense battle, Skarmory. Next, Route 114 provided Lombre, Swablu, and Seviper. Exploring Route 115, we found Jigglypuff, and Swallow. Route 116 offered Whismur, Nincada, Skitty, and Abra. Route 117 brought Illumise. Then Route 118 surprised us with legendary Latias. We caught it and wrapped it up with Manectric. Offstream, we scored 3 extra Seedot, 2 for Evolution and 1 for LeafGreen. Lastly, we have another 1% encounter, Nuzleaf on Route 114. Our journey continued on Route 118 with Carvanha capture. Proceeding to Route 119, we found Lynun. Passing through Fortress City on Route 120, we secured Mightyena and Absol. Diving underwater, we caught Clamperl, Chinchou,
and Helicant. On Route 128, nearing Evergrande, we fish Lovedisk with Good Rod and Corsola with Super Rod. Route 132 delivered Horsey. Granite Cave was fruitful. We caught Zubat, Geodude, Makuhita, Sableye, and Aaron in Steven's room. Importantly, Nosepass proved elusive. Peterborough Woods provided Shroomish, Silcoon, and Cascoon. Upstream, we get an additional Nuzleaf, plus 1% encounters, Volbeat in Route 117, and Kecleon in Route 118. Our day began with an unsuccessful attempt to capture Phoebus on Route 119. Returning to Peterborough Woods, we caught Slackoff, but missed its estrus. Granite Cave denied us Nosepass again. At Meteor Falls Cave, we secured Solrock, and with Super Rod, Whiscash. Deeper within, we encountered the rare Bagon. We concluded the livestream by acquiring Dex Generation fossils, Root Fossil and Cloud Fossil. Later that night, offstream, we successfully located one of the 6 Phoebus spawn locations, capturing it and its estrus. We began on Route 103 surfing for Pelipper, but alas, another unsuccessful attempt. After capturing Shuppet, a battle with a trainer in Montpire became a stalemate due to Smeargle's and Wobbuffet's moveset, resulting in a game reset, sadly losing our Shuppet. Restarting, we explored Montpire's upper floors, securing Duskull. And recapturing Shuppet below. Venturing outward, we acquired Vulpix. Magma Hideout wielded Graveler, while Jagged Pass provided Spoink. Shoal Cave's Ice Room gave us Snorunt. Victor Road delivered Lodred, Hariyama, Mawile, and Lyron. Fiery Path brought Matchup, Koffing, and Torqual. So Grimer was unsuccessful. Our life concluded at Desert Wonder Pass with Ditto. We commenced with Pelipper's long-awaited capture on Route 102. Next, Route 111 wielded 2 Cacnea for Cactune's Ginders. On Route 113, we secured an additional Skarmory for LeafGreen, but not without an initial capture made with a wrong ball. Route 116 provided 2 Skitties, one to evolve and other for LeafGreen. Although a failed Kecleon hunt, we caught Tropios on Route 119. An extra Absol was obtained on Route 120 for LeafGreen, while Waylord and Nosepass seem to be avoiding us. Peterwork Woods supplied 2 extra Slackouts, both to evolve. Firepath denied Grimer again, but we acquired a Magma Armor Slugma for breeding purposes. The day concluded at Shoals Cave High Tide, where we caught Sphew. Our day began by activating a swarm that we received from Pokemon Sapphire, enabling Surskit capture on Route 102. We then ventured into the Safari Zone, aiming to catch 26 Pokemon with 14 extra for LeafGreen, totaling 40 captures. These Pokemon will be caught in Safari Balls, therefore they will be bred and added to our count later. In Area 1, we caught Natu, Doduo, Girafarig, Pikachu, and Wobbuffet. Area 2 wielded Psyduck. Area 4 provided Fenfi. Area 5 was fruitful, Mareep, Suncairn, Spinarak, Wooper, Hemorrhoid, Stantler, Snubbull, and Gligar. Area 6 concluded with Hoot, Ladybug, Shuckle, Apon, Teddiursa, Houndour, Mutank, and lastly Pineco. After another failed attempt to catch Nosepass, things got better when we finally got Gloom on Route 121. We did pretty well snagging the last extra Slackout in Peterwork Woods, which is heading to LeafGreen. Back in the ice room of Shoals Cave, we managed to catch a Golbat this time. Then we headed to the Battle Frontier and caught this weird tree, which turned out to be just a Sudowoodo. After that, we got into Artisan Cave and caught Smeargle. When we returned to Victory Road, we grabbed an extra Mawile for LeafGreen. We swung our way to Sky Pillar, where we caught Altaria, Banette, and Claydol. We wrapped up this livestream in New Malville, catching Magnemite and Voltorb at the entrance. After the live off-stream, we finally managed to capture Nosepass. And also an extra Kecleon for LeafGreen. Kick things off at the abandoned ship where we fished up a Tentacruel with a Super Rod. Since we were already there, we grabbed our scanner and traded for a Deep-Sea Tooth, a valuable item we will need for evolution later on. Heading back to New Malville, we pulled off some repel tricks to get Magneton and Electrode. Then, we returned to Route 116 to snag the last extra Skitty, which we used for an in-game trade. The last task of the day was a trip back to the Safari Zone because we still need to catch 5 Pokemon there. During the livestream, we caught Rhyhorn and Pinsir in Area 3, and also Gligar and Stantler in Area 5. The next day off stream, we finally caught our last Safari Pokemon, Heracross, in Area 4. Also off stream, we managed to snag more rare Pokemon including Grimer in Fury Path, Chimecho outside Montpire, and Wailord on Route 129. To wrap it up the catching phase, we gotta catch the legendary, gift, and limited Pokemon. We kick things off at Mirage Island, snagging Winnout. Then we head over to Rustboro City and revive Anorith and Lilip. After that we flew to Mosdep City to grab Beldum at Steven's house. The last Pokemon are legendary and we kick off with the Hedgie trio, activating their caves to catch them. We got Regirock at the Desert Ruins, and after a 1 hour long battle, we managed to catch Regice in the Island Cave. And finally, we snagged Registeel in the Ancient Tomb. Back after a break, we resumed our journey, capturing the remaining legendary Pokemon. We secured Kyogre in Marine Cave using just 3 Pokeballs, followed by Groudon in Terra Cave. Finally, Rayquaza in Sky Pillar concluded our livestream and our catching phase. After completing the catching phase in Pokemon LeafGreen as well, we conducted trades between those 2 games, acquiring Unknown which will be counted in the deck since it's a non-breeding Pokemon. To discover all extra Pokemon captured in LeafGreen, watch the LeafGreen Complex video linked below. A few days prior, we traded Skitty for Meowth, which won't be counted in the deck since it's a breedable Pokemon. The following Pokemon we obtain this day won't be counted either, as they are part of the extra catching phase. We began with Pokemon Firehead, capturing Ekans on Route 4, Growlithe on Route 8, and Shellder in Pallet Town using the Super Rod. We purchased Scyther at the game corner and revived Omanite in Cinnabar Island, which will be sent to LeafGreen before arriving in Emerald. We also revived Aerodactyl in Cinnabar, caught Quillfish with the Super Rod in 5 Island Meadow, Murkrow in Lost Cave, Delibird in Icefall Cave, Electabuzz in the Power Plant, and acquired a Togepi egg in the Water Labyrinth, which will also be sent to LeafGreen first. We concluded the day in an additional Pokemon Emerald save, reviving Anorith and Lilip in Rustboro City, and obtaining an extra Beldum at Steven's house in Mosdep City. We continue our journey in Pokemon Sapphire, capturing Lunatone in Meteor Falls. Next, we shifted to Ruby, securing the Zangoose on Route 114, Roselia on Route 117, and Meditite outside Mount Pyre. Back in Firehead, Entei escaped, but Zapdos fell with just 2 Pokeballs. In an additional LeafGreen save, we revived Kabuto, received Eevee in Celadon, and Hitmonchan in Saffron. These 3 Pokemon will be transferred to LeafGreen and eventually Emerald. Offstream, Togepi evolved into Togetic for breeding, and we got Hoenn starters Pokemons, Trico, Torchic, and Mudkip from an extra save. During this period, we concurrently executed the breeding phase and extra catching phase. We generated 201 egg for Pokemon Emerald. Here's the comprehensive list of bred Pokemon. Additionally, we bred Pokemon that we previously captured in their initial forms, they being 2 Trico, 1 Lileep, 1 Anorate, and 2 Beldum. In our final breeding live, we also captured an extra win-out in Mirage Islands to evolve, and an Articuno in Pokemon Firehead. On this day and preceding ones, we captured additional legendary Pokemon in other games. We traded them to Emerald, adding to our count Zapdos, Articuno, Raikou, Suicune, Entei, Moltres, and Mewtwo. Furthermore, 3 extra Deoxys were obtained in extra Emerald saves for their different forms. The last section to complete our decks was the evolution phase, along with some event Pokemons and Johto starters. We used various methods, utilizing secret bases filled with Blissey, battling our favorite reporters Gabby and Tai, used some evolution stones, and low-level routes along the way. We initiate the evolution phase by evolving Growlithe into Arcanine using the Forest Stone, followed by Vulpix into Ninetales. The Moonstone enabled Jigglypuff evolution into Wigglytuff. We utilized the Water Stone to evolve Shellder into Cloyster, and Staryu into Starmie. Execute evolved into Executor with the Leaf Stone. Skitty transformed into Delcatty using the Moonstone. We successfully evolved Eevee into its various forms. Vaporeon with the Water Stone, Jolteon with the Thunderstone, and Flareon with the Fire Stone. The Sunstone enabled Sunscaren's evolution into Sunflora. And after maximizing Phoeba's beauty, we acquired Milotic. Next, we focus on the middle forms of Kanto starter Pokemon. Squirtle into Wartortle, Bulbasaur into Ivysaur, and Charmander into Charmeleon. We continued with low-level evolutions transforming initial route insects. Caterpie into Metapod, another Caterpie into Metapod and then Butterfree, Weedle into Kakuna, another Weedle into Kakuna and then Beedrill, Wurmple into Silcoon and then Beautyfly, and another Wurmple into Cascoon and then Dustox. We finished the day by evolving Seedot into Nuzleaf and then Shiftry, as well as Lotad into Lombre and later Ludicolo. Our evolution journey continued, wielding Nidoran female into Nidorina, Nidoran male into Nidorino, and another pair into Nidorina and Nidorino, so ultimately evolving into Nidoqueen and Nidoking, both with the Moonstone. Further evolutions included Hatata into Haticate, Spearow into Fearow, Spinarak into Ariados, Sandshrew into Sandslash, and Chinchou into Lantur. We progress to Rolling Starter middle forms. Trico into Grovyle, Torchic into Combusken, and Mudkip into Marshtomp. Additional evolutions ensued, Abra into Kadabra, Bellsprout into Weeping Bell, another Bellsprout into Weeping Bell, and then Victory Bell, Marill into Azumarill, PJ into Pidgeotto, Winnout into Wobbuffet, Hoppip into Skyplume, and Wooper into Quagsire. Subsequent days saw the acquisition of mythical Pokemon Jirachi and Celebi, alongside securing the coveted Eon ticket. Our evolution phase continued. We began by evolving Eevee into Espeon with max friendship during the day. Then we achieved a dual evolution, transforming Nincada into Ninjask, and also obtaining Shedinja with a free slot in the party. Further evolutions included Lackout into Vigoroth, Beldum into Metang, Hoot into Noctown, Mareep into Fluffy, Ladybug into Ladian, and Sentret into Froret. We pursued additional friendship-based evolutions, Pichu into Pikachu, another Pichu into Pikachu, and then Raichu with the Thunderstone, Cleffa into Clefairy, again another Cleffa into Clefairy, and then Clefable with the Moonstone, Chansey into Blissey, and lastly Togepi evolved into Togetic. During this live, we also evolved some Pokemon into their middle stage. That way later we can perform all 3 evolutions offstream, resulting in Onix into Steelix holding a metal coat, Clamperl into Huntail holding a Deep Sea Tooth, another Clamperl into Gourbiz holding a Deep Sea Scale, Porygon into Porygon 2 holding an upgrade, Poliwag into Poliwhirl, and then Politoed holding a King's Rock, Slowpoke into Slowking holding a King's Rock, Geodude into Graveler and then Golem, Horsey into Seadra and then Kingdra holding a Dragon Scale, Abra into Kadabra and then Alakazam, Scyther into Caesar holding a Metal Coat, Machop into Machoke and then Machamp, and lastly Ghastly into Haunter and then Gengar. Offstream, we evolved Eevee into Umbreon with max friendship during the night. Following an extensive offstream leveling up, we finished the Hoenn Dex during this live, acquiring the following Pokemon: Trico into Grovyle and then Sceptile, Torchic into Camuscan and then Blaziken, Mudkip into Marshtomp and then Swampert, Shroomish into Breloom, Haltz into Kirlia and then Gardevoir, Whismur into Loudred and then Explode, Surskit into Masquerain, Numel into Camerupt, Meditite into Magichan, Aron into Lyron and then Aggron, Gulpin into Swalot, Spoink into Grumpig, Duskull into Dusclops, Trapinch into Vibrava and then Flygon, Cacnea into Cacturne, Spheal into Celio and then Aurain, Snorunt into Glalie, Bagon into Shelgon and then Salamence. Beldum into Metang and then Metagross. Oddish into Gloom and then Vileplume. Doduo into Dodrio. Grimer into Muck. Coughing into Weezing. Hoenn into Rhydon. Psyduck into Golduck. Goldeen into Seaking. Another Oddish into Gloom and then Bellossom. Natu into Shatu. Tenfi into Donphan. Slugma into Macargo. And the last one, Zubat into Golbat and later Crobat into Max Friendship. The final Hoenn Dex entry, Legendary Latios, was captured on Southern Island. With the Hoenn Pokédex complete, we visited Professor Birch's lab to view Johto starters, but concluded the live because saving and duplicating the save file would be necessary to obtain the 3 starters. After duplicating our save off-stream, we returned to Professor Birch's lab and snagged Totodile. With most leveling up done off-stream, we added a ton of new Pokemon to our roster, they being Bulbasaur into Ivysaur and then Venusaur, Charmander into Charmeleon and then Charizard, Squirtle into Wartortle and then Blastoise, PJ into Pidgeotto and then Pidgeot, Paras into Parasect, Diglett into Dugtrio, Venonat into Venomoth, Ekans into Arbok, Meowth into Persian, Mankey into Primeape, Poliwag into Poliwhirl, another Poliwag into Poliwhirl and then Poliwrath, Machop into Machoke, Ponyta into Rapidash, Slowpoke into Slowbro, Seal into Dewgong, Ghastly into Haunter, Krabby into Kingler, Drowsy into Hypno, Cubone into Marowak, Smochum into Jinx, Elekid into Electabuzz, Magby into Magmar, Horsey into Seadra, Omanite into Omastar, Kabuto into Kabutops, Dratini into Dragonair, another Dratini into Dragonair and then Dragonite, Mareep into Fluffy and then Ampharos, Pineapple into Fortress, Hoppip into Skyplume and then Jumpluff, Snubbull into Granbull, Houndour into Houndoom, Teddiursa into Ursaring, Swinub into Piloswine, Hemorrhoid into Octillery, Haltz into Kirlia, Larvitar into Pupitar, another Larvitar into Pupitar and then Tyranitar, Slackoff into Vigoroth and then Slacking, Trapinch into Vibrava, Bagon into Shelgon, Corphish into Crowndown, Spheal into Cilio, Lileep into Cordeli, and the last of the day, Anorith into Armaldo. Prior to this livestream, we successfully transferred the remaining Johto starters to Emerald. This enabled us to complete our egg collection with 2 Totodile, 3 Chikorita, and 3 Cyndaquil. We evolved Meditite into female Magichan, completing the gender-specific evolutions. With few evolutions remaining, we grabbed Tyro into its distinct evolutions. Hitmonlee with higher attack, Hitmonchan with higher defense, and Hitmontop with equal attack and defense. Additionally, we evolved Johto starters into their middle stage, Cyndaquil into Quilava, Totodile into Croconaw, and Chikorita into Bayleaf. On this day, we achieved the final evolutions necessary. Specifically, the Johto starters reached their last stage. Chikorita into Bayleaf and then Meganium, Totodile into Croconaw and then Feraligatr, and Cyndaquil into Quilava and then Typhlosion. Offstream, we obtained this generation event tickets, Aurora ticket, Mystic ticket, and an OC map. The only step between us and the finish line was the last 4 event Pokemon. On this day, we successfully secured Lugia at Naval Rock, but unfortunately failed to capture Hoenn. We concluded our complex Dex journey by capturing Hoenn within 10 minutes at Naval Rock. Next, we visited Weird Island, securing the mythical Deoxys. And our final Pokemon, the mythical Mew, was caught on Faraway Island. Completing the 386 Pokemon from Generation 3, including forms, we visited Professor Birch but received a no reaction. However, visiting Lily Cove City's motel yielded our coveted diploma, marking the end of our adventure. The Pokemon transfer process to Pokemon Home occurred off-stream due to multiple steps, but our Pokemon successfully migrated through Generation 4, 5, Pokemon Bank, and finally Pokemon Home.
Alright guys, here we are at Pokemon Home with the Hoenn Dex. We start with the unknown forms that are introduced in the Generation 3, right? And then we have the Hoenn Pokemon with the gender differences like Torchic and Kobuscan and Blaziken as well. And we have the rest of the gang here. There's not much to add. It was a long challenge and it was a long time editing, but we finally finished this video. Here we have the forms of the Deoxys that we changed in the 4th generation. And I guess that's it for today, guys. Thanks for coming and keep healthy and safety, boys, and see ya.